And y'all know what it is. Y'all know what the fuck it ain't. Xman Reeko and this motherfucker who might make movies.
Alright, man. So why the name Xman Reeko? I mean, I got my ideas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's crazy. Ain't nobody ever asked me that. That's crazy, bro. And they just be having little shit and they be running with it. But at one point in time, man, I ain't gonna sit up there and say I was addicted. But you know, X is a common thing on the West Side, and I ain't gonna flash. You know, I was popping it and I was trying to sell it too. You know, give it to my girl, get everybody, get the party going. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't addicted to it, nothing like that. And then my homie, he was the one who really had it. His name was Fat Fo. He really had it. One day he just was like, boy, I don't know, he ain't give me the name like a nickname. He just like, Fo, you got them bitches like X-Man. Fo, that's what we gonna, just something like that. And I made it like an Instagram handle or something like that. And it just, when I thought about a name, when I went to do YouTube, I'm like, I'm gonna just keep that.
Stuck with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm born and raised from the West Side originally, man. If anybody know what Gold Blast at, 4242 West Adams. I was in that building from I was a baby till when we had to unfortunately move due to Granny having a stroke. But I ain't gonna flash though. People watching this, they gonna be like, they probably seen Shorty at what here, that, nah. Cause I ain't gonna flash, my people, they was on that shit, thank God they clean now. But, so we was there, well, I even stayed out of state, just wherever the motherfucking, I go with the flow type shit. That's how it was. Up north. Riverdale, all that shit.
So what school did you go to?
Like for high school or what?
Yeah, for high school. I mean, you went to college?
Who?
Did you go to college?
To who? The college?
To college.
Hell no. Hell no. This one blogger, he says, he brought it up too, talking about something. He probably didn't even graduate high school. I ain't gonna fly out, I didn't. I went to high school in Texas. When I moved back, I went to Cordless and Finger. You ever know the schools at?
How long was you in Chicago? How long did you go to Texas? And then when did you come back to Chicago?
Alright, so in 2008, my people got locked up at the same time for hustling. And I was just turning 13, so I was living by myself for a minute. I was living by myself and ain't nobody know except the other little shorties who really knew me. They came in the crib, they damn. So my homie Kylan, if anybody watch this, know Kylan from over there. His grandma RP, he told his grandmama. His grandmama took me in for a couple weeks. I don't know how this beautiful lady found my people in Wisconsin. And like out south, the family that I had and like on Mason and shit, she found them. And after a couple weeks, they came and got me. And I'm damn. But the lady took care of me for a minute. And I don't even really know this side of the family. But they came and got me. And they sent me live with my family in Wisconsin for 6 months till my people got out. Got to a fight with this little white boy and shit and came back. But then right after that though, I moved to Texas. Cause I was getting in trouble and shit, and so my auntie said, come down here. And I stayed out there for a year. It was lit. And that was like 09, I came back.
How would you compare living in Texas and just, what I'm saying, how would you compare living out there to living in Chicago?
Man, I appreciate it and I understand it now more now that I'm older. But when I was, like I said, when I went to Wisconsin, just meeting the family and shit like that, it was weird. I had to adjust to, even the air felt different in Kenosha, Wisconsin. I'm smelling this shit. But as I started losing weight, I started playing sports, all types of shit. And it was a different type of lit in Wisconsin. It's like them white people was stapling shit in their arm, but they was the ones really smoking weed, had all the drugs, taking me out to a farmhouse in Zion, partying. That shit was lit. But then when I lived in Texas, that was a step up. Now I'm seeing Crips, they stacking. You know what stacking is? It's like some crazy shit. When they gang banging, but it's all that shit. They stacking. I'm seeing all that shit. That's the first time I ever seen something look like a Draco. But I ain't kicking with them. They're like, no, my group, I just see it. Smoke some weed, popcorn to trip me out. Had a little Mexican female folk. And it was all different islanders. They was Budawayan and Chuckanese. You ain't never heard that shit. That's what I was staying out there with, bro. My mama, though, like I said, my daddy was locked up. He doing a little beard. Not a big beard, but my OG was on that shit, but she was trying to get off, but she wanted to come back to the rack. So every time I came back, we can't live out here because it ain't nothing out there. You feel me? It forced you to get clean. So we stayed out there for a year. I was skipping school out there. I was skipping high school to go fucking the forest. That number woods next door. And so shit, it was lit, bro. And when I came back, I low-key didn't want to leave. I was damn near playing organized sports. I ain't never do it, but I thought about it. I ain't never thought about it in the rack. But I thought I did. So you got to change shorty's mindsets. Sometimes
You think getting out the city is good for most of the youth? You know what I'm saying?
That's
just seeing a different side of the world.
that's what somebody asked one day, like, what you think will stop the violence in Iraq? I don't think it'll stop the adults who set in their ways. You can't even get a bitch to stop doing what she doing. You gotta grab the shorties when they young, man, and show them the shit the type of shit I seen. But it's so easy to get resources at these little programs. And when the shorties see different, maybe not all of them, but they'll think different. Like, man, I was just out there, even if, like, I ain't trying to say people wanna, like, oh, I wish I could replace my life with these white people life. But when you see that, you be like me, I was like, I could do that too. Like, everything I ever did, I never hated on the person. Like, damn, I wish I had that. I always said I could do that too. And that's how it was, man. But the rack, the moral of the story though, because I had to get out how late it was in both them places. The rack, it ain't nothing like the rack. That's why I learned how to be a man. It was like, even after I wasn't doing that much fighting and shit like that, you know, I'm smooth. You know, I'm city slugger. That's what they used to call me, all the old heads. I'm sure he a city slugger. Look at him. Smooth through everything. But I was fighting though. Motherfuckers get a little racist and shit. But in the rack, I came back instantly fight. Yo, people on that shit. And that's how it was before I moved. I ain't gonna lie. When I was living by myself when I was like 12, 13, it was like that. Just that still, you know, I had to fight a lot. I had to do a lot of fighting. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro.
Well, I mean, why was you fighting a lot?
Because like people, you know, when kids real cruel. Kids even can be more cruel than adults. And it's just shit that make you. Now that I'm old, back then you be like, damn, I hate my people on this shit, woo, woo, woo. But it made me. And I'll go to school, you know, it could be people that's my friends that I know play sport, whatever. But when that joke come up, you know, they ain't holding back. Yo, ma, I just seen your mama high on or this and that. I wasn't good with the jokes like I am now. Like people thinking all that shit. So I was fighting. I was that type of shit fighting. And I'm only child. So shit. Now here come they siblings. It was always that. From the time I was a shorty up to like teenage years when it slowed down a little bit. When I rotated, came back, lost weight, changed, and you got to rebrand yourself.